Up next on Inside ChampCar, MBM Performance, the Miata edition, and a new sheriff in town. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Bill Strong, Chelsey Vickery joining us tonight, along with Grant Barron and Evan McCutcheon. Did I get that right? McCutcheon?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hey, guys, Brian is off trying to dodge cones and do stuff out in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's left it in charge of me. Of course, we're going to see if we can ruin this in about 10 minutes. Make sure everything's working. Can you all hear me out there? I think you can, because we did testing before. Hopefully all the sounds are good. Hey, Chelsey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, Bill?
Cool. And we will talk a little later. We have a lot of news.
Yeah.
And it looks like everybody's saying, hey, y'all, sound is good. All right, thanks, John. Grant and Evan, MBM Performance. You guys are located up in the Great White North there, or the Northeast. It's pretty hot up there now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a hot week.
So tell us a little about MBM Performance.
Yeah, so we're a race shop. We're based out of Northern Connecticut, a little south of Springfield. Primarily Miata focused, as you can see in the background. But we're starting to branch out into a couple other things too. Toyota, ERZ platform, as well as we'll pretty much do some
don't say it.
Work and fabrication for anything.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't
even
say
if it's other Japanese mark that's not Toyota, but also very popular in racing.
Don't say K-swapped MR2, please.
Yeah, we might be doing one of those too.
Everybody wants to do those. Duh. So, you guys just sponsored one of our races here recently at Thompson Motor Speedway for the 12-hour. That was a fun race.
It's a lot of fun.
And you guys were in it, and you were up on the podium towards the end there. At the 12-hour mark.
Yeah, we had a good race for some cars, a bad race for other cars, but you know, it's kind of how it goes sometimes. So we're happy to at least put one car on the podium.
So I screwed up and forgot to ask what got you guys into this racing stuff? How'd you start out?
Yeah, so him and I were actually randomly assigned college roommates. Just so happened to both be really into racing and cars, kind of both grew up around it. Over COVID, we decided to build a ChampCar, rent it out to offset some costs, and it kind of went from there.
Nice.
And how long have you guys been out?
Fourth year? I think this is our third or fourth season. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, third or fourth season, second real season with a real shop, a real roof over our head. We're kind of working out of a garage and just doing our own thing for the first two.
So did your wives get mad because you had all these Miatas hanging around in the yard? You kind of had to put them somewhere?
Well, neither of us are married.
Oh, okay. That's just me, I guess.
No one to fight with over Miatas.
What made you guys choose Miatas?
So I was lucky enough to intern under a Miata guru named Matt Kessler of Kessler Engineering when I was in college. That kind of got me into the platform, and Grant actually bought one of my Miatas from me in college.
Yeah, and then it went from there.
It's all downhill.
Downhill spiral. Now I don't know how many we have here, but it's definitely
because that's a real shot behind you. That's not one of those fake screens like we have normally back here. I have a yellow car.
Yeah, no, that would be our shop. Yeah. So I don't know. There's probably 8 or so in here, and another 6 or 8 shells in the parking lot, and then another 6 or 8 race cars in the trailers.
So how do the two of you guys go to a race weekend and you're able to corral all the drivers? I did a race weekend, a 24-hour, I don't know, back 2013, 2014, and we had 3 cars plus choice cars, so that's 4. And then all the drivers, at least 6 drivers per car, and then each car had its own team captain. And then you had to have people like corral the drivers, which we didn't know about because you had to keep an eye on them because they just disappear on you when you least expect it. How do you handle doing all that?
Well, first, have a good plan. First of all, go in really organized. Every race, it seems like we learn something to keep ourselves a little more organized. This race, probably everybody saw the premiere of our giant whiteboard in the garage. That helps keep everything square, but also hiring good crew. We've got a lot of good crew we work with who, not every single one comes to each event, but, we kind of pick from the pool and making sure they're well-versed on the plan, well-versed on what to do, a good kind of organizational structure, how to roll issues up the chain. And so really it's just kind of organized chaos, and then at the end, usually it works okay.
You
But,
had a big group at Thompson.
yeah, it was 3 cars, about 12 drivers, probably another 10 crew-ish, maybe a little less, 8 or 10 crew.
Yeah, that's our home track, so we had lots of support there, which is really nice.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
to see.
Getting the whole crew down to Florida is a little harder, but we can do it. So,
But they don't. You're not short of volunteers to go down to Florida, right?
No, they
No.
usually chomp.
Are you going to Sebring?
we'll be there.
Yeah.
Nice.
And maybe VIR North. See.
Oh, yeah, we'd love to see it.
Yeah, that's a fun track, the north side.
Yeah, we've never
Um,
run that configuration.
Yeah,
It looks-
that first turn when you go up the hill into Patriot is always interesting, especially the first couple of laps. Remember a couple of years back we had the big one, took out a whole bunch of cars leading the race. Yeah, that was the end of a couple of our friends racing because they just pretty much it was a big wreck.
Mhm.
But
That's no good.
stuff like that happens. And speaking of wrecks, so unfortunately we had a pretty big wreck there at Thompson. And one of the things that ChampCar has done over the years is we've really cracked down on, holding down those batteries, holding down the cool shirt boxes, holding down the driver, everything. And we watched on the internet as this gentleman put up his video and watched the car tumble 4 or 5 times. We counted 4 in the video, but the track worker said 5, right? Somewhere 4 or 5 times. And it everything worked as planned, and he basically got out of the car and walked away. It was crazy because it was a big hit.
Yeah, we run a bunch of series, and I think you guys are typically the strictest. I think going through tech.
Yeah.
I would dare to say we have the hardest time, right? I mean, it's not really a hard time, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job, with all the little particulars.
It's tough because I know that, like Ray and the guys, they have seen a ton of stuff over the years. I've seen a ton of stuff over the years. I know Chelsey has as well. And even Chelsey's predecessor, Dana. I mean, we've seen so many things either go right or wrong. And as soon as we see them go wrong, we try to fix it quickly. And one time at Thompson, we had a fire, which changed the way that we do firewalls. It took us a while to pretty much get that down right because the initial reaction was, wrap these guys in foil and, protect them. And it's we've got it right now. And I think the builders have figured it out too, how to do it. So basically don't take out those firewalls to make your cars lighter. Keep it right. And, the seat belts, a bunch of other stuff. But what I found interesting was, nothing moved in that car except for his tablets. And I think he had those tethered as well, so they weren't going to fly out; they just fell to the ground. But when you guys are building the Miatas, you basically buy the cages pre-built, or you have to weld them in, or what do you have to do with those?
Yeah, so we we both have an engineering background, so we actually do our own roll cage design, and we work with a couple of fabricators that do the the actual bending and welding, but all fully 3D modeled and kind of built around the specific chassis that it's going into rather than a more cookie cutter kind of cage kit. And that's the direction we've been going lately.
Yeah. So every chassis we do, obviously Miata or otherwise, it starts with a 3D scan of the whole interior, and then we build off of that.
Nice.
Everything, everything gets a lot of thought and care put into it, in terms of safety and also performance.
Right.
Usually they go hand in hand.
So you say you're engineers. You're not train engineers because he said something about 3D.
No, we don't drive trains. That would be cool though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a buddy that went off to train school, and after a couple of months, he came back. He says, "Not for me." So
They get to wear the cool hat.
they did. That's what we asked him all the time. He got really upset with us, but either he didn't get to wear one or he hated it. One of the two.
Yeah.
Chelsey, you went off to train school at one point, didn't you?
Our timing girl, Kelly.
Yeah, that's right. Kelly works for one of the big train companies.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So what are the little secrets that you guys have learned about the Miata that you can pass on to our fellow racers that are also running Miatas that don't know the little secrets?
Check the front hubs constantly.
Well, yeah, that's a known fact because usually when you see the wheel fly off into the corner, it's like that's a car that hasn't had them checked.
Yeah, I mean they're great cars, and in ChampCar the biggest thing is just get the car as light as possible and as reliable as possible. We've learned firsthand you got to finish the race, and if you can, first you got to build a decent car that finishes the race, and then you can focus on getting faster. The getting faster is the last 10%, and the finishing the race is the first 90%. That's really how it goes.
Now, we've talked many times about today's drivers may not have as much experience driving auto or stick shift cars versus automatics, and some of the older guys, it's just once you get in, it's like a bike. But there are people that just really have not grown up using sticks. Do you have a problem getting customers that do have that issue? I mean, they can learn it pretty quick, but they can be kind of rough on the hardware.
Yeah,
Really,
not too much. We're kind of in a cool position where a lot of our drivers we pull from some sprint racing series, so they've been kind of growing up around,
right?
And have a ton of experience with it. But we definitely have had some new people that actually got up to speed on the street in the sim.
yeah.
I never thought of using a sim to learn how to drive.
Yeah, it's good for muscle memory, for shifting. I mean, you don't have clutch feel, but you at least have, put clutch in, move hand, right? And listen to the RPM and the engine and stuff. So
Right.
that's helped a bunch of our guys who have come up from karting, who've just gone directly from karting to full-size cars endurance racing. That's, I think, what's helped them the most.
Okay. Have you ever thought of building an automatic Miata for maybe folks that don't have a lot of experience driving it?
We kicked around the idea actually with
we kicked around the idea with an ND.
Yeah.
Well, that's the SMT, isn't it? Or the what do they call
think
it? DSG.
Automatic. I think it's a traditional.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, but we actually got shot down. The ND, I guess, was a little too new.
Well, there was a team that raced one years ago. We had a Spec Miata racer, and I forget his name now. War veteran lost his legs, and so he drove with automatic setup in his, or paddle shift setup in his. Actually, did really good too. What's his name? Ian, I forget. But yeah, we've been talking about it. There's a bunch of guys, including Ed, Be Like Ed, and he's he races an automatic. There's a couple other teams running automatics now, including our the 350Z. Two brothers. They've got that pretty quick setup. They can only keep rear ends in that car. That's their problem. So
it's a good 75 points of bonus basically. So if you can do one right, I think you could build a really fast car. Our biggest problem with kicking around the idea of a automatic Miata was that it would be so niche to ChampCar that if you ever wanted to resell it or get rid of it or whatever, possible.
Well, you shouldn't be racing anywhere else, right? Right, Chelsey? Gotta say it.
You can sell it to a fellow ChampCar racer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's the plan for the next race? Where are you guys going to be at?
So we're kind of finishing up. Well, so in terms of ChampCar, tentative VIR North and definitely Sebring. Outside of ChampCar, finishing up the Northeast regional SCCA season and then runoffs in 3 weeks down to VIR.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's going to be fun. Where are we? We're in 3 weeks. We're somewhere, aren't we?
Where are we? What day is it?
I don't know.
We were disappointed we couldn't make it to Pitt because of runoffs because we did that one last year.
Oh, yeah, Pitt. That's right.
Yeah, Pitt's a great track.
Yeah. And it's great for little Miatas, too. So, when something fall down? Your place haunted?
I have no idea what just fell down, but it was really loud. So, I guess we'll see what
well, the cars are still up on the lift. I keep waiting for it.
I don't think water or anything, so I don't think a pipe burst. So it's probably good. Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
So, are you guys going to the? You guys are going to the runoffs?
Yeah. Actually, a bunch of the guys. I think every guy we're going to runoffs with ran ChampCar. That's at least once this year.
Yep.
Yeah. So all Spec Miata or a couple Spec Miata, one Spec MX5, which is an NC. And all of them have raced ChampCar with us in some capacity this year. And they all loved it. Good practice for them, just a ton of seat time, a lot of practice in traffic and stuff like that.
All right. So, recently we had a video pop up on the internet. Some gentleman not talking the greatest about our drivers. And, I was able to watch his in-car video. I don't think he knew I had one of our show cameras in his car, so I was able to go back through and watch him. And he got rattled a few times, mainly from the speed differential. I think he got caught off guard going up the S's a couple times. What do your drivers that run in spec and ChampCar? I mean, is there, because you don't have speed differential in spec Miata because you all are basically the same kind of car. How is that a big difference for them? I mean, most guys can figure it out if they do it a lot, right? If they're in the speed differential.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the spec Miata guys are also close. They're used to being like really close quarters with people.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of translated well. But
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely there's a huge speed differential, even for I guess a fast A-class Miata is pretty fast everywhere, right? But there's definitely a massive speed differential. But I mean, it's just part of, you drive with what's on
multi-class,
right? Multi-class racing is part of the game. Especially, ChampCar is a series that you're going to have some beginner drivers, which is great, right? Give people an opportunity to go racing, right? And so it's just another, another thing you got to deal with on the track, right?
Yeah, I completely forgot about speed differential until Visceral passed me when I was in the Mini on the front straightaway, and I almost wrecked on the front straightaway because he scared the absolute shit out of me. It was bad.
Yeah, it can be pretty dramatic. That's for sure.
Yeah, completely.
A lot of our guys think it's fun though. So
yeah. And I think having that seat time too. The more seat time you get, the better it is for you. So with the endurance stuff, multi-class.
Yeah, they have the opportunity to get almost as much seat time in one weekend as they do in half a season. So that's amazing. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
The cars are basically, the ChampCar cars are going to be lighter, a little more agile than the spec ones. What do they experience when they get back into the spec Miatas after driving the lighter ChampCar version?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a tire differential too. So spec we're on Hoosiers, and then ChampCar we're on 200 treadwears. But we've seen, depending on the track, the net is actually pretty close.
Yeah, the lap times are not identical, but pretty close between the two cars at most of the big tracks, which is interesting. So it kind of helps us a baseline going into it, like what their target should approximately be. And they're used to going, around the track at that pace, which is helpful.
Well, that's cool. I thought there would be a bigger difference. I completely forgot about the tires. Even the brakes are different, right?
Yeah, the ChampCars have. Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, some people will run like a standard 1.8 Miata brake setup on ChampCar, which is totally fine. That's the same as a spec Miata.
Mm-hmm.
But then in ChampCar, you can also put like a Willwood on the front or the rear, and that's obviously a step up.
Yeah. And then the tires really help in the because they run 140 or the 40 treadwear slicks in those.
Yeah. It's a M7. It's a special. I mean, not special.
Like
it's
DOT,
basically Hoosier made for spec Miata.
Right.
And they have a lot more grip than any street tire.
But they won't last 2-hour stint, right?
I know.
That would be a handful.
Yeah, no.
Cool. Now, with your Miatas, do you have a separate? Now, I know with our MR2s, we would have a kind of a rain setup, a dry setup, and a hey, we don't know what's going to happen setup for the suspension. Do you guys do that with the Miatas as well? You kind of, or does it just keep one size fits all because it's that good of a car?
It really depends on kind of the driver lineup in the car, but we do often go to different setups depending on weather and conditions.
Yeah, Thompson, for example, was a toss-up. Like, we were really hoping for a rain race so we could throw a rain setup on the car. We knew, I don't know, we'd probably be one of the only teams doing that. We knew it would be a big advantage. But of course, it was a toss-up, right? And so, I mean, we do bring the scales and the setup pads and all that stuff to the track, but, I will spend the time doing it, but I would have liked to been able to make the decision at the shop, right? It's just easier that way. And it turned out to be a dry race, and we had a dry setup on it because we, the weather kind of solidified a day or two before, so that ended up being okay. But yeah, it definitely varies track to track, weather to weather, driver lineup to driver lineup, car to car. It really kind of, the baseline gets you like 85% of the way there, and then you dial it in from there.
It was kind of cool. Chelsey let me escape. She let me go on a break, and I took my camera out and went over and took some pictures. And watching your blue car go around underneath that bridge was pretty insane compared to the other guys. I mean, Visceral was pretty quick through there. There's a couple other little cars, but your car just physically looked a lot quicker, more aggressive going through there. You could really hear the tires just right on the limit. Do you know who your driver was at that point?
What time was it?
It was sunset. So
Yeah, I mean, it was probably one of a couple of guys who not only race Spec Miata, but it's also their home track too, or Spec MX5.
oh yeah, okay. So that helps out a ton having your own, being at your track.
Well,
all day. Yeah.
So not only is it their home track, but couple of the guys are members of the track too. So I mean, they're there like maybe once a week,
Right.
maybe more.
At minimum, a couple times a month. So.
Yeah. So that they know the track like the back of their hand. We just done an SCCA race there
The
2
weekend
weeks,
before.
literally the weekend before,
Yeah.
with all those guys. Every single one of them have been there. So
Right.
they're all pretty dialed into Thompson.
So when you guys are on pit lane, you're running your team, and something bad happens. I don't know, black flag or something. What's the first thing you think of? Where's the first place you think you're going?
As in, you're talking like a black flag. You get something, or
I don't know. Where do you go? Who do you go
Well, I
talk
know
to?
for a
Who do you go talk to?
I know for a fact we always look at each other and ask, "Did you see this car, and this car?" Right, and see if they can on here. And that's every single time, right? Because I don't think a single time, like every team, we've had some wrecks, right? And usually they don't radio in. Usually it's just like we find out by different means.
Oh yeah. Hey, it's like, hey, I don't know what happened to the car, but it's not working right now, and I'm upside down.
Well, so at the Glen, like we had a pretty bad wreck in the bus stop, and I found out because one of our other guys got a picture from another guy on our team of the car like in pieces in the bus stop. I was just like, "Is this our car?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, we're finding now that our live log is telling on a lot of drivers.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah. So the live log's actually great because it tells us if any of our guys had contact. Like we had no idea that one of our cars had contact at Thompson, and then we looked on the live log and it said it had contact, and then sure enough we looked at the right rear tire, it had some red paint on it. We're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul, right? Just a little tap, but we would have had no idea.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because there's many times I'd say, so what was it like out there, guys? Anything happen? Oh, no. And I'll go through all the video, and it's like, holy crap, man. And then I think the worst one was we were at Road Atlanta, and coming up over the bridge before you went downhill, there was a big hole at the apex point. Now, where I came up over the bridge, I wasn't so far over when I was in the car. And I got home, I took off the wheel, and the whole wheel is the whole inside of it's just cracked, just beat to hell, cracked all over, held air for the 14 hours, but it just looked like crap. I couldn't use it again. And I asked the guy, so what happened? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. So I went back to the videos, and every lap just bam, bam, car after car after car, and they all, once I showed them I took screenshots and and showed them the video, and they all like, here's some money, here's some money, here's some money.
It's a long stint too. If you tap somebody and it's like 3 minutes in, and then 2 hours later you're getting out of the car, I could see how you might just forget. I mean, when I do endurance stints, I always say like I don't even remember. It's like I just go out there and then I drive, and then somebody radios me in like 2 hours. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm done. I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah.
It's just like you get in your groove, and then that's.
Well, you don't think, because you're racing. I mean, you're thinking about the next corner, not what you just left. And, you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then you're going to the next corner. Maybe I'll attack it differently now. Yeah. So, but then the log will rat you out.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been yelled at by Chelsey a couple of times too for not hitting things, but aggressive passing for sure. That's happened.
Chelsey wouldn't yell at anybody.
No, it was a stern warning. Yeah, maybe a couple, but it's all right.
She's only like 5'1", maybe 100 pounds wet, and it's not like she's intimidating.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
The truth comes out.
Or like when Chelsey was obviously a little aggravated something at Thompson, and I asked if we could take out our spare car because one of our cars broke.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to get the guys some drive time, and I could tell Chelsey definitely did not want to be bothered. So I tried to ask nicely.
It's funny. They just kind of come in, stand behind me, and they just kind of wait. And it's like, so,
Yeah.
like, what do you guys want? Well, but it worked out.
I really want to get the guys in the car. We got this other car we brought. Wait, let us.
So you guys have been doing this for quite a while now, a couple of years. Do you have any good towing stories? Anything you can say legally now?
Yeah,
It's always come in the vault, right?
you could tell it. You can go for it.
Yeah, so heading down to Sebring last year, we're on the Jersey Turnpike, and we actually had, one of our wheels, all the studs sheared and went off on the turnpike. Luckily, we get freshly paved road, got the trailer under control and pulled over. But
Wait a second.
What's that?
Wait a second. You're not allowed to have trailers on the turnpike, are you?
No, Jersey Turnpike. It's 95 going through Jersey.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're good with that. We're good with that.
I think that portion of the highway is privately owned, so there's only like one towing company that can help you. No AAA or anything. So we were kind of screwed.
Yeah. Well, all the studs sheared off, and we didn't have an extra hub. And then it's a leaf spring trailer too, and so the shackle that holds the leaf spring ground down to nothing. I actually had one of those, funny enough, but we didn't have a spare hub.
Yeah. So called the one person I knew in the state of New Jersey, and he happened to be up at 1 a.m. working at a shop. Out to Cliff Rollo at Rockwell.
Oh yeah.
Pulled the hub off of their trailer and drove it like an hour and a half to us in the middle of the night, and Sebring. But that's the craziest one we've had.
This was also on our nonstop journey, so that was maybe like hour 8 in.
Yeah.
And then they ended up taking us total, because after we got delayed, we were on the side of the road for like 5 hours. And after we got delayed, we then hit traffic in like every city, right? And so I think it was like 32 hours straight to Sebring.
Jeez.
Yeah, so we planned to get there to the 7 at like, I don't know, mid-afternoon the day before.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. the day before, and we ended up rolling in around 2 a.m, like the day of practice.
People used to make fun of me for showing up the track so early. That's only because nothing happened on the way to the track. It's those ones where I showed up later where you're trying to find a tractor supply that had all the trailer parts in it and wait for it to open. And
yeah.
But anyway, so now we travel with hubs, tires, shackles. Everything you can think of related to a trailer we travel with now.
So what people don't understand now is now you have to get that F550, or the semi truck, the tractor trailers set up, because you just have to carry everything, especially when you have so many cars.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, well, we have a pretty big setup. It's been pretty solid so far, knock on wood.
That was our first trip with our new truck, so it was a little nerve-wracking, but
no damage to truck.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Was it brand spanking new or all used?
Brand spanking new.
Okay, so that's the way I do it.
Trailer was brand spanking new too.
Oh wow!
You have to, because we're putting so many miles on the stuff that you just have to.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a huge risk. I mean, if you think about the amount of money involved in getting to the track times 3 cars or whatever, you got to be able to get there. Right?
And you've got customer money on the line too.
That's what I mean. Exactly. Right. I mean, there's people are depending on us. Right.
Yeah.
That's the service we provide.
Right, Chelsey?
So.
Right.
We got 120 cars all showing up to Daytona, and we're thinking, oh my God, make sure everything's in place, everything's working, because you've got 120 times how many 5-6 people per team all staring at you, making sure you're doing it right. And if you screw up, what happens, Chelsey?
The line forms.
It is brutal.
Yeah.
You got any
other
other?
than that, we've cruised no problem. So
yeah,
we're good.
Yeah.
Got any questions, Chelsey? Any more?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at Thompson again next year. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Put our name on next year too, for sure. Lock it in.
Cool. And I'll send you I'll send you a contract.
Perfect.
Write that down.
Thanks for sponsoring us, guys. We appreciate that.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. We got our start in your series, so
yeah, exactly.
Thankful for all you've done for us.
Cool.
Yeah, right on.
I am mad at you, Bill, though, because you didn't print enough stickers and we didn't get any. So,
So when
I've obtained a couple.
I have to be careful because I get yelled at, when I print too many stickers.
Yeah.
And I look at the numbers and I have to forecast, and it's like, well, history says it's going to be this much. So I print this much. And then I find out, oh, guess what? We had like 50 people register last night. You mean like this one?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, they need
Send me
that.
your address. I'll send you one.
Thanks, Bill.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time on this guy. That was like one of those 2 o'clock in the morning I can't sleep design sessions. It's make it different. So yeah, next year's decals are going to be same shape because I think everybody likes those shape because they put them on their doors and stuff. So I thought about making it the other way so that just to screw with people, but then she did that. She did that. No, don't.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
They just like wouldn't fit on doors and stuff. It'd be awesome.
It'd do it like mid-season.
Or if you got like rows and you've got like a row that's almost complete.
Oh yeah.
It's not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's what would happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. We got Grant and Evan from MBM Performance. And how do they get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, go on our website, mbmperformance.com. You'll also see we're doing Miata Performance parts sales now. So both off-the-shelf stuff and engineered by us. So, if you want to know how our cars go fast, go on our website. There you go. All the parts are there.
Very cool. All right, guys. And we'll put a link in the description, wherever that is.
Perfect.
And we'll get it all up for you guys. All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And we'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Thank you both.
All right, Chelsey, it's your and I turn.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. So
I tried to ask what you were gonna ask, and we're shooting from the hip.
I told you that, but I actually have a lit. No, I'm kidding.
No. You can't do that.
So
My brain is mush.
A week and a half ago, we were just normal human beings.
Yeah.
And this week, you're our fearless leader.
I know. Quite the change.
Yeah.
Quite the change. It's been, there's been constant. So, and that's okay. We are still doing races and figuring things out, and on a good path.
So we got a race coming up here. A couple of days. We have
Mid-Ohio.
Let me move this little sticker thing over here so that it doesn't block your face. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. I don't even know.
It's the subscribe and button. Yeah, I have buttons that pop up and do funny things, and so yeah. So everybody's telling you got this. What do you think? Do you have this?
I do have this. Obviously, it was a change, and with change comes with the growing pains, I think, and that's where we're at. But we're getting through it, and looking at 2024 and keeping our eyes ahead, and going into Meadow this weekend. We got almost 60 cars signed up, so that's going to be a great race.
That's another one I may not have enough stickers for.
Right? Yeah.
So we're noticing that people are waiting till the 3 days out before signing up for a race. That's hard for us, isn't it?
It is hard. It is difficult because you plan. We start corresponding, a month in advance. For like pit stall requests and things like that. And we have noticed a big change in signups, even just 2 weeks out. It grows. So
I mean, we welcome them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They can sign up until Friday.
Until the green flag.
No, I'm just kidding. But you are more than welcome for sure.
I can see our timing and scoring. Like, no, don't start yet.
Okay.
Uncorrelated.
It's weird. People don't know how that works. So the upload process to the timing computer is like, that's how you get, timed for the race. And pretty much we wait until 30 minutes before or an hour before green flag.
Depends. I mean, sometimes, depends.
Sometimes we have cars that work all night that have to do some changes, and they'll come in that next morning and they'll register, with Laura or the registrar on site. And then from there, they'll radio over to the timing, and then they'll do the upload, and they'll bring all the cars over so that you're scored, transponders and stuff like that. That's how it gets imported. So yeah, any kind of late signups will always kind of we're waiting that last second to, okay, we got to import. So
It's not
there's
just
a
that;
lot
it's our Flagtronics as well. Uses the same
as
import.
well.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're busy. You usually have one timing person doing both Flagtronics and the timing and scoring. So it's kind of cool. I'll actually do a lot of times I'll do the Flagtronics and hand it over. Or even Fowler would do the Flagtronics like the day before, try and get as much as he could out of it. And then we'd share info. And then that way it could get across to both the marching ants and to Flagtronics. Because a lot of people don't realize that we have two Flagtronics systems, one that Bill plays with that doesn't do anything, which is a good thing, right? And and then the
why did you just black flag all?
yeah, well, oops, yeah. So the and then the one that's used for the actual race itself that they use it to signal all the racers. So, but yeah, that's it's always a fun time up there, and I think if I don't know, we really don't want all kinds of people up in the tower, but if you ever get a chance, just come on up and stand back a bit and watch what happens. Make sure it's busy, not when we're sitting around doing nothing, partying and, stuff like that. But
right. Every day's a party. Especially when you're sometimes, as a director, certain tracks work in control, which you got to feel for that at Gingerman, talking to corners. So sometimes as a race director, you normally have a set person that is sitting there and they'll communicate with corners and all the things that are happening out on track. And then they communicate with you while you listen and you communicate with your staff on pit road. And sometimes that position at certain tracks isn't there. So
you have to do everything.
I have to do everything. So I'm talking to corners, talking to my staff, talking to Flagtronics,
Yep.
to
timing and scoring,
timing and scoring and making sure penalties are getting out and messages are being delayed to black flag and all that stuff. So it can get pretty hectic in that situation. And just really, if there is a control person there, because you are just kind of juggling. That's why I always have two radios on and walking around like a crazy woman. But yeah, it's fun.
It's you brought up Gingerman. I got to do the flag side of it, and I've been in the tower a lot over the years. I've seen a lot, heard a lot. Oh, I can do this. And then you toss me the radio. It's like, oh yeah, I got this. And then the first thing I heard is, what did he say?
It's like the face of what was that?
What was that? I couldn't understand a word they said. Luckily, our starter kind of understood what was going on, and he would raise his hand and go like, 2, not even looking because we're in the background, and he would, turn 5 is talking. Okay, turn 5, slow down, or say it again, repeat. But that was, for me, that was the hardest part, was trying to understand everybody's radio calls. He knew where they were because I guess they work the same corners all the time, but understanding how they, how they describe something. Because some tracks, what was that track we went to where everybody's called Able, or they call Able? Oh, Watkins Glen. Everything is said a certain way. I mean,
there's a corner worker. There's etiquette that's taught to at some tracks. I mean, some tracks, they differ obviously from place to place, but there is an etiquette on how corner workers call up to the tower and how you call back. You pretty much just essentially just repeat everything that was called to you so that you know that you have all your information that's correct. So you learn that, just, okay, turn 10.
Yeah, I had a problem saying Roger, only because my Air Force days, we always said Roger.
Yeah, and it's copy.
Yeah, it's copy, yeah. Hey, Lee just brought up, hope German fixes their timing loop. That's 2 years in a row there. I don't think it was a timing loop. It may have been some of our hardware. And we ended up...
We're trying to figure out what really happened. The track manager got up there. They had brand new equipment. But we have had that issue there twice. So we really want to kind of figure that out for sure, because that was worst case scenario.
Yep.
Hopping over the wall, taping down a loop. We've done it, we've done it at not just Gingerman. We've done it at some big tracks. And sometimes it just happens and you just you gotta roll with it and you gotta do what you gotta do to get the race back going. So that was kind of a worst case
Right.
situation, but we figured it out.
Well, and Tim brings up that at least we got it fixed faster than the time at Road America. But Road America was different. Road America is big. We have, that's a track where guys are going over the start finish line there at probably max speed, well over 100 miles an hour. And having something taped down to the track just isn't going to suffice. So we have to bury it there.
Especially if it's snowing or raining.
snowing or raining or whatever. So at Road America, I think we had rain and we had to dry the track, and it was just a little slower operation there. But yeah, it's tough. And I think we had Wi-Fi issues because they had their Wi-Fi system crash. And right after that is when we started getting the errors. People kept coming up and telling us, hey, your timing, what is it? Race monitor wasn't working right. And we kept resetting it and it just didn't click. But now that we saw that error, well, we might remember it in the future. Hey, if we're seeing this error, we need to look here. So, but yeah, it's helped us out, and we'll make it better.
For sure.
So when you're in the tower, what's the hardest thing for you to deal with, other than me?
Man, that's a loaded question. What's the hardest thing to deal with? I think when you just have tough races, sometimes, there's just having more of aggressive set of drivers that can be trying for sure. And you just gotta take your calls when they come in, and you have to deal with them, and it has to be on the spot. And if you know me, you know that I have no favorites in this game. I appreciate all of our drivers, and I respect all of them. But when it comes down to safety and everybody on track, there is no leniency in me for that. So yeah, we do have those races where it's like, man, we're getting ready to throw the checkered, and the day just kind of takes it out of you. But it's just, and then you have those days that are just smooth sailing.
Wait, when have you had those?
You know what? I was thinking of that. I was thinking that because, we can talk about my records of things that have gone just awry.
Right.
And there's just been some crazy things that we would just never would have guessed. And they happened to me.
To you, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
We had other race directors. You go to the race and you're just sitting up there going, oh, when is this going to be over? This is so boring. And here they come across the start finish line,
Right. Yeah. And meanwhile, over here, I've learned a lot in the first 4 years of doing this. I mean, we had some things happen, and not not with drivers. It was just with like the Willow thing. And Bill was out there on a corner because we didn't have enough corner workers, and having somebody walk across a hot track.
Not just that. Well, I don't know if anybody's heard that story, but basically I'm in the pace car.
Yeah.
We have a small field, so we didn't take a lot of staff with us. We didn't need them. And I'm in the pace car, and I remember you telling me take another lap because you're still trying to get stuff set up on the ground. We didn't get a full set of corner workers or something. And I remember being at the top of the hill and coming down the S's on the back straight, and the lady holding the flag put her flag down to light a cigarette. And all I could think of was what happens when the flag goes down, everybody starts racing. And behind us, it's blind coming down there. So it's like all of a sudden they don't see her up on a hill with no flag. They're going racing. And I'm just sitting there behind the wheel like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Because I remember yelling across the radio, she has her flag down.
You were yelling so hard. Oh my God.
You said, take another lap. And okay, come in this lap. Everybody's good. And I come down pit lane and it's like, who is the guy standing out on the track?
Oh my goodness.
Our flagger, I guess at one point was in some movie, Ford versus Ferrari or whatever. And they did the start out there like 1960s style or something. And he
was standing down off of the start stand on the track side, hot side.
Yeah.
Like feet just on the dirt right by the pavement, and was going to throw the green flag. And here comes Bill. And then I'm running. here comes Bill behind him. He grabs him and brings him back over the wall.
He was a lot light. He was a lot lighter than I thought. I picked him up.
He's like over the wall, and we started the race. And it's just, it was just,
he wouldn't get in the tower. He said, no, I do it down here. I'm like, no, you got to get in the tower. You're running the race. Because that was a track where the flagger actually does flag control.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they'd agree to do that. So you ended up doing it. And not only that, okay, so that happens. Then we have a car come down pit lane. Brakes are on fire.
Yeah.
Somebody says the brakes are on fire, and you grab a fire. I remember like walking towards a car and seeing you way down at pit out, and you grab a fire extinguisher and you walked with purpose. And I mean purpose and a half. And you went up to that wheel, you looked at it, you poosh, let off of it, looked at it again, did it one more short squirt on it, and then walked away, put the fire extinguisher down, and next job. I was like, holy shit, Chelsey, she's a firefighter and a half. Not only does she, and then that was a fun race. That was interesting. We've had a few of those over the years, but that was at the top of the list. That was also the same. Oh, and then later on, not much later, I'm at pit in, and I'm talking to Jay, and all of a sudden, I think it was Jay. So whoever's at pit in, I think it was Jay. I see somebody walk across the track. And, I get, there's somebody walking across the track. Might have been yelling it.
As somebody in the seat, when you hear that come across the radio, it's just immediate red flag.
Yeah.
Like it's just instinctual to say red flag.
Yeah.
But by the time that anybody had,
we had to figure out what was going on. It's like, is that a person?
Yeah. By the time anybody really saw what was happening, she was already off.
Yeah.
Way off. So it's like she was done. Crossed the hot track and she was done. And then we had a corner, and that's where Bill ended up.
Yeah, we didn't have a corner flagger, so I said, I guess I'll go.
In the desert heat.
Yeah, I got out there, and all I had was a
red.
Was it a red flag? No, it wasn't red. I had a green flag and a yellow flag, and that was it. Maybe a white flag. And I remember coming across the radio. Somebody said something about we might have the red flag for the oil down. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a red flag. I'm looking how am I going to do this? Do I hold up my phone with a red screen on it, or, just trying to figure out ways of doing it. And, that one was bad. And then we had, what was it the next, and I took like 10 waters with me, and I had him done within like 20 minutes. It was just so freaking hot. Yeah. Like and there's and at Willow Springs, there's no shade for the corner workers.
Yeah.
And my hat's off to those people doing it, because it's brutal out there. Absolutely brutal.
Honestly, yeah. I don't know. I've been in a corner stand and worked a event with Phoenicia from Barber. And it's different than what you think, for sure. When things happen, they happen so fast. And it's like, you really have to have your eyes just out there and paying attention for sure at all times. So yeah, it's a tough job for sure.
Being able to describe what you just saw with the numbers of the cars and the color, because you just don't say car 67. It has to be car 67 burgundy or whatever what's the word? They can't say red.
You can't say certain things on the radio.
Yeah, you can't say
dead, red. You can't say red. So they say
fire. You can't say fire.
You can't say fire on the radio unless something is actually on fire, because those all are,
bad
situations. So
yeah, fun times. And then the next day we had a better group of flaggers in, and things were so
that
much.
was a good race.
Yeah,
it was a great time. So it's just certain things that pop up that you just can't train for until they happen.
Yeah,
and it's.
And your trainers really don't even tell you that kind of stuff, because it's one of those things like, she'll learn.
Lesson. Yeah. I was trained by some great people, and I'll forever be thankful for that. Mike Morrison, Mike Chezik, and Dana, and Mike Morrison and Mike Chezik really took me under, and I worked so many races with them, and man, I learned so much because of them. And yeah, and here I am today, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So, hats off.
You used to work for me, kind of. Yeah,
Right?
back in the marketing department. Remember that? Yeah, that was a long time ago. So
Loved taking pictures. I did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that too, but you don't let me do that anymore.
Oh, everybody would be like, she's so mean. I'm really even keeled person,
She
just
is.
so everybody knows. If I'm, I just don't ever really blow up at all. I'm firm. I'm direct, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm very even keeled. If I'll look at a video if something is wrong, and I'm always open to that. So don't paint this picture.
Somebody said you had rap hands. I don't know what rap hands are, but you had rap hands when you do your driver's meeting. What's that mean?
That's because Nick Johnson took that picture.
Oh yeah,
like this, and it hit the internet, and I'll never live it down.
That's going to be our championship sticker for next year.
And I don't even. Everybody's like, "What were you talking about?" I have no idea. Oh, it was something.
So, do you have any announcements for next year at all yet? Is that a yes or no? We just leave it until
announcements
for the 2024 season. Like, are we
for
going
the
to Le Mans?
2024 season? We have some. We're going to move around some dates. I think. I'll let that one out of the bag. We still have, in mind. We want to go to these tracks that are, still keep our main bucket list ones, but maybe look into adding more in if possible. And if not, definitely for the 2025 season. That's a big goal, to get back to some of the places that I hear about, like Indy and Coda, and I really want to get back into Barber. It's a mission of mine to get back there. So, yeah, it's just some of those things that are on the radar for the club, and honestly, just getting to know the racers more and letting them get to know me more. I think that's important with this transition. Obviously it's just I'm in this role now, and I hope to really kind of get to know everybody on a better level, other than just being in the tower and and walking up and creeping up and wondering this or that. But yeah, just have some conversations and grow together as a club. It's important.
I'm looking for. Oh, they want to know where the championship race is. I know.
When are we going to announce that?
I don't know when the whole schedule comes out. Unless you, I don't know.
You're like, no,
I don't know.
Don't do it.
I kind of want to, but I don't, because it'll give something away. So
What will it give away?
Where it's at.
I mean, we already have it nailed down.
Okay.
So
if you want, you're the boss.
The national championship for 2024 is going to be at NCM.
Yay! Centrally located, near pretty much everybody except those in the lower tips of Florida, but they'll get up there.
It will be at NCM. We have to pick, we had to choose a race that was towards the beginning of the year. So it kind of limits where we're at or what we can choose from. And then, that always brings up the thing, well, what if you moved this race here? And a lot of people don't know that once you lock in a weekend at a track, that is the basis, unless you can snag a date where another series drops a date. Because once a track has those dates in lock, they operate pretty much from the moment we leave on the weekend. That following week, I'm corresponding about dates for the following year to get them locked in. So it's hard sometimes to move races around. It's not that easy, but we always try to, look for gaps or look for some changes that maybe some races are geographically too close together. So that's kind of some of the changes we'll do this year, but we chose NCM and we're going to be doing the championship there.
Cool.
So hope to see everybody.
Yeah, we had a good turnout. One of the other races there, the NCM National Championship. That was fun, especially turn one, or the chicane there. That's just awesome watching the cars go through there. So, all right, so we don't have any other maybe 24 hours at, I don't know. Where's a good track to have a 24-hour race at that nobody really likes to go to? Could be anywhere out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, we're looking at many different tracks. Talking to some tracks too. I see you, Fred. So hopefully, that's one track I do like. Nelson, yeah, there Tim shows up. Nelson Ledges. I do like Nelson Ledges. I'd love to do another 24 there, but we have to have the numbers to go back there, don't we? We just can't go there with 15 cars.
Yeah. And that's pretty much anywhere on our schedule. It's just we have to, this is a business at the end of the day. We want to make sure all of our racers and members are happy. And, but at the end of the day, we do have to look at stuff like profit and loss. So we're going to keep what we have, maybe change things around a little bit where they're placed, have the championship at NCM, and then grow and try to pull in some of the more bucket list tracks.
So we have the board of directors vote coming up here soon. We got 2 people leaving the board of directors. It's what do they call that? I can't never think of the words. It's late. We've been up early. The election to nominate the nominations for some board of directors. So that's happening. We also have the 2024 BCCR that will be released any day now. I know that Chris was just finishing up the final aspects of it. Talked to Ray this morning. They were voting. They have to. The board has to vote to approve it, and not everybody had voted yet because it was still early. So hopefully we'll have that up within the next day or two. And that's always a good thing. I've seen it. There's not many changes in it. A lot of clarifications. I had to do some new photos, and Chris did some awesome roll cage diagrams, which should help out a lot of guys. So,
right.
I bought the software to do it myself, and I couldn't get the software to work right. So he stepped up and helped me. So,
yeah, good. Yeah, I know all the tech guys that are on the ground. And Huggins, they all got together just with some wording. I think it's really gonna, it'll help out a lot on building some cages. So
yeah, so cool. Anything else, Chelsea?
Why'd you call me the new sheriff in town?
Well, because you are the new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
The boss.
Be watching that driving.
The boss lady.
Yeah.
Is that it? Are we done?
I'm here for it. Well, yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you if they want to ask you questions?
Chelsea.vickery@champcar.org, or you can call me.
Or info@champcar.org. Either one works.
Info@champcar.org for sure.
Cool. Now,
any suggestions, anything like that, I'm open for ears. I mean, that's all going to be taken in, and I will, I'll listen to everybody.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us here, Chelsea. That was fun. And, Brian's out there somewhere in Lincoln doing cone dodging or something, or getting ready to do it in his little Honda Fit. I think he has. That'll be fun to watch. Hopefully Brian does well out there. And I guess stock class. Have you ever autocrossed?
Oh, so I come from the autocross. That's where I kind of started, just in with Optima and stuff like that. We did autocross and speed stop and track for the Ultimate Streetcar. So it's
Ultimate Streetcar. Do you think they could do endurance racing?
They did. Jimmy had it.
Oh, that's right. I do remember.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, Jimmy Day, who used to be one of our board of directors with ChampCar. So
Jimmy Day and Wally Ozak. That's who brought me into the motorsports industry at age 22.
Yeah, about 4 years ago. And
no, I wish. I told Bill the other day I picked a long gray hair out.
Yeah, it's all downhill from there.
That's what I tell Julian all the time.
Yeah. So. All right, Chelsea. I think that we're going to call it a day here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do all the rest of the stuff here. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you've heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. And it would also be great if you could share it on your social media channels, email, whatever. Just share it. You can comment on ChampCar Facebook page, or send us an email at info@champcar.org, and especially if it's a good one. We have a new episode every week for Bill Strong and Chelsey Vickery. You're listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network.
Thank you.